These are just some of the earliest writings, some of the earliest things that were taught in the church. But if it's not in the Bible, I'm not here to tell you it's factual. I'm just telling you this is the studying that I've read. And he said unto them, what would ye that I should do? They said unto him, grant unto us that we may sit one at thy right hand, and the other on thy left hand in thy glory. But Jesus said unto them, ye know not what ye ask. Can ye drink of the cup that I drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And they said unto him, we can. And Jesus said unto him, ye shall indeed drink of the cup that I drink of, and with the baptism that I am baptized withal shall ye be baptized. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared. Many, there are still here not fully contemplating, not fully understanding what Jesus meant by when it was his time to ascend into glory. Now they were part, both James and John were part of the inner circle. There's one other member of the inner circle of the disciples. His name was Peter. Yeah, his name was Peter. You got the first letter, okay? You got the first letter, okay? But they were still thinking a heavenly kingdom at this point. The king always sat with advisors by his side, and they wanted to be the first ones to be able to counsel Jesus when he came to his earthly kingdom. And again, in the other, I forget what, I don't have written down what the other chapter is, but it shows that their mom was also was present when they were asking this. Again, Jesus not showing them, you don't really understand my mission here. And none of them fully understood. Not one of them did, because we see them hiding. We see them all later really having lost hope until they see the resurrected Jesus Christ. Okay? That is when they understood. When they finally received the Holy Spirit, that is when all of it made sense. Still today, we don't understand the things of the Bible. We don't understand the teachings of Jesus Christ until we fully have the Holy Spirit living inside us. And I say fully because you can have the Holy Spirit living inside of you, and you're not filled with the Spirit. What does that mean? You're not living the right lifestyle. You're not wanting to hear what the Spirit has to say. And I also say you have to have the Holy Spirit with you. You have to have the Spirit, because the Spirit works even in the lives of people that are not saved, but he's working from the outside in. They're still knocking on the door. They have yet to receive the Spirit inside of him. Until you have that Holy Spirit inside of you, you have a desire to know the things of God, then all of these secrets, boy, he's going to tell us. All of these secrets the Lord will share with us. Is there something? Now again, were they self-seeking? I don't know. We see many times here we see two instances here tonight where James, now it's hard to just talk about James. Every mention of him is pretty much by him, not by himself. He's always with his brother. He had been there from the beginning. He had been there to cast out, both of them had been there to cast out the demons. They had been out there to do all the things that Jesus had asked of him. They had come back with all the reports. They had seen all the things that there was to see, all the things that there were to do. They believed in Jesus' power. But here we see them asking for things. Two things that they've asked for that were in direct contradiction to Jesus' message, to why Jesus was here. It's a warning for each one of us Christians. Again, we are to have this type of zeal that these men have. I mean, we're supposed to be passionate about things. Yes, we're supposed to be angry when we see Satan winning more and more in this world. But it's supposed to make us the right type of angry. We should not be out there rioting in the streets, okay? We should not be out there talking bad or hitting others, doing all these things. I mean, very forceful things. But we should be more vocal as Christians. We can use and by vocal, start with prayer. Before you do anything, start with prayer. There are many times I have something I want to share. I want to share a song, a picture, something on Facebook somewhere, and I'm like, boy, everyone from church is going to see this, and I just got to say a little prayer before, like, Lord, let this be, biblically accurate before I share, because if not, I know I'm going to hear about it, okay? And by the way, church, we have a little gossiping problem because I cannot talk about my sister without her finding out, okay? So, okay, we got to work on this, okay? All right? Let her find out by watching online, just like Jonathan did when he messaged me the other day and said, so I'm the traitor from Detroit. I said, yes. Okay. No, Jonathan, we love you. Okay. And looking forward to seeing him. The second his baby girl will be 3 months. So yeah, time's going by fast. But what can we learn from James? He was quick to obey God. He was quick to follow Jesus. But what we're going to see more next week is he kept that faith all the way to the end. Just we'll touch on it, but this is not meant to be the full story. By the way, here we see Jesus mentioning that you will drink of the cup. He said, yeah. What Jesus was talking about was his crucifixion. What do we know about James? We know that he was the first of all of the disciples. If you look in Acts chapter 12, and the beginning of Acts chapter 12, and this is where we'll be more in next week. It says, now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James the brother of John with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. So we see the first disciple that has become a martyr was James. Quick to anger. How many of us are like that too? I mean, they were the type that would speak before they really thought something out. But yet Jesus could use these men to spread the gospel. Jesus can use anybody to speak to the gospel. And he used their talents. We see how quick they were to defend Jesus Christ. This was the same zeal that was able for them to go and not care what others thought about them when they were preaching Jesus Christ. And you need that when you're out there you need this type of zeal to be able to go out and be angry for the right reasons, to go out into a world that is lost and going to hell and tell them about Jesus Christ. To speak first, to say things without being worried what others are going to think. When they asked to be seated at the left and the right hand, they were in front of the other disciples. They weren't scared in their mind. They were seeking a blessing. They did not understand how the other disciples were going to take it as an insult. But we see that they were not scared to ask Jesus of even something very, very high. For a king to make someone and put them at their left and right hand, I mean, you're asking quite a lot there. We see that they weren't scared to ask the impossible from Jesus. They weren't scared. They didn't ask for little things from Jesus. They asked for big things for Jesus. They wanted to do something like one of the great patriarch, one of the great men, Isaiah did, one of Elias did, one of the great things that the Jews still talked about, that's still being talked today. They wanted to recreate it because they thought it would bring people to God. They thought it would bring people to follow Jesus. It would show Jesus' power. But they didn't quite understand. They couldn't quite focus that anger, that righteous anger, should I say. Each one of us should have that type. We should want to go and help cleanse things when Satan has infested them. But we need to do it knowing that we have to love the person. Yes, hate sin. Boy, we need to learn, church. We really need to learn to hate sin. And this is on me also. We need to learn to hate sin in our life and in others' life as much as God does. Not even look, he won't even look upon it. But yet, while God can have no part with sin, he sent his only son to come and die on the cross. What does that mean? We need to hate the sin so much, we have to be willing to give up even things we love to help pull people out of that sin by showing them Jesus Christ. It may mean ruining a friendship here and there. It may mean not always taking the easy route, but we can learn from the example of James and speak and not be scared to ask from things for God, not be scared to go out and to want to see God move in a mighty, I mean, he wanted to see God move in a mighty way. We can still ask for that today. But let's make sure we're doing it for the right reasons. What is the right reason? I'll tell you, it's always this, to glorify God. They wanted to see big things happen because they wanted to have the prestige. That was wrong. There was some pride there. And they also wanted to cast judgment on those people. They didn't want to see them get saved. Okay, much like, it reminds me a little bit of Jonah also. He preached, but he didn't think he'd save anybody. He went and sat down and waited. Even though the people repented, he sat down and waited for God to destroy Nineveh. What a preacher that is, right? Preaching the message and still expecting God's judgment to come down on the people. Let's have a better mindset than that, church. Let's go out there, tell others about Jesus out of love, out of compassion instead. If the musicians would come up here. We'll finish on James next Wednesday night or the next Wednesday that I'm able to. Oh, I should be able to bring. Yes, Wednesdays am. It's Sunday night that we have Singspiration. We'll see more of James. We'll see more of how he was there in the inner circle. He was there at all the important moments. But I want to ask you here tonight, church. When you get angry, why do you get angry? When you ask for things from the Lord, why are you asking them? Are they for the right reasons? Each one of us, and please, I know we're getting ready to leave. I know we all want to go next door and eat, but they're still setting up, don't worry. When we all have this special prayer request, what's your reason behind it? What's the motivation for it? We each have this burden. I mean, we all have these big prayer requests. Let's make sure we're asking for the right reasons. Let's make sure if we're angry about something that we're not angry at the person. We're not angry at them. We don't want to see any judgment or harm befall them. We want to see them saved. We want to see the temple cleansed so that people can get close to Jesus Christ. There's no barrier in between them and salvation. Let's have this righteous anger, this boldness to go out and to tell others. Not be scared of asking Jesus to do great things, to use us to do big and mighty things, not out of pride, but out of wanting just God's will to be done, out of wanting God to get the glory in everything. This is what we got to be. This is the motivation behind everything we need to pray for. If you'd all please stand here and just reflect on what it is. Reflect on what that prayer is. Reflect on what that burden is here. Let's just give it to God. If you got a problem with anger for the wrong reasons, and I think the whole church may, if we were being honest, I think the whole church would flood this area up here. You can pray where you are. If we got a problem with having the wrong kind of anger, the wrong kind of prayers, let's ask for forgiveness on that right now. Let's ask God to have that righteous anger, that anger that moves us to work for the Lord here tonight. As Stephen begins to sing, won't you come?
I wonder